Hey, good evening. Hey, Neo. Long time no see, I feel like. What's up, Matt? Happy Tuesday to everybody. Yeah, Neo, we were hoping to see you guys on the cruise. I know you guys can't make it. That's coming up here in a couple of weeks. Yeah, cheers, buddy. Stingrays in the house. G-Man. Well, they're doing their best to destroy the sport of college football, aren't they? I mean, they've been trying really hard for years now. They finally might succeed. I don't know. I'm sure most of you have seen the newest news in college football as far as the playoff expansion possibilities, what they're discussing doing. And I'm not too fond of it. I'm not too fond of it. If it plays out like they say it's going to, that is. College football is still way better than the NFL. Yeah, I agree with you there. What, is it snow in there? Slim? We're supposed to get a bunch of rain tomorrow, but not snow. What they're talking about doing. Nothing will change in 2025. We already know that. You're going to see the same thing in 2025 that you saw in 2024. 12-team playoff, the same buys, the same automatic bids, the same home field games. Well, the same exact thing. 2026 and beyond is a different story. Well, this is just the article here on 247 Sports. Turn some music off. It's just... Sometimes it's just too much for my ears to take. Another round of college football playoff expansion could be on the horizon as sweeping changes to the present format are already under discussion. According to Yahoo Sports, Ross Dellinger, SEC and Big Ten leaders are expected to use their leverage over the rest of the FBS conferences and Notre Dame and push for a 14 to 16 team playoff that rewards multiple automatic bids to each league. That doesn't sound bad on its face. First of all, we already knew that they were going to be discussing expansion to 14 or 16 teams coming into this last season. So that nobody's surprised by that. How that would look, though, is what the question was. And is what's being discussed here. The SEC and Big Ten could receive as many as 4 bids. So we're talking about 4 automatic bids. Not earning your way into the top 14 or 16. 4 automatic bids for the SEC and Big Ten. That's 8. I guess there'll be automatic bid. Well, I'll keep reading here. Pushback over the proposed changes is immense, and Heisman Trophy winner Robert Griffin III took a stance against the method of expansion. Griffin echoed the concerns of many throughout college football with regard to the disparity between the SEC and Big Ten and the rest of the sport. With those leagues already set to hold larger shares of playoff revenue and influence than others starting in 2026, their breakaway from the pack continues to accelerate. This is a quote from Robert Griffin. The soul of college football is dying because of money, allowing the Big Ten and the SEC to get 4 automatic bids into another expanded college football playoff dilutes the importance of winning. 4 non-conference champions don't belong in the college football playoff. The proposed changes open the door for a monopoly of the sport. The business of college football is trying to destroy it. I agree with most of what he says there. Okay, so the expansion proposal calls for each of the SEC and Big Ten to receive 4 playoff bids. The ACC and Big 12 would hold 2 spots apiece. So that gets you to 12. The highest ranked group of 5 champion would secure the berth, and Notre Dame would earn a bid if it ranks inside the top 14. This is, I guess, based on a top 14-team playoff, not a 16-team playoff. I have a feeling it's going to go straight to 16. I don't know why they just keep doing this fucking thing where they're going to just keep inching it up, adding 2 teams every few years. Just get to the ultimate. What's the end goal here? Are we going to 16? Then just go to 16 and be done with it. The top 2 seeds would receive first round buys, and the former, while the latter bracket would not have any buys. I don't have any issue with automatic bids to the playoff if you win your conference. I think the conferences still need to be looked at as important. Winning your conference still is an important thing to do, and winning a Power 5 or 4 conference, no matter what you think of the conference, is still an accomplishment that should earn you a way into the playoffs. But having 8 automatic bids, well, actually 12, I'm sorry, 8 just for those 2 leagues, and then 4 more between the Big 12 and the ACC is just ridiculous. Well, first of all, making the playoffs earns you more money as a conference. Winning games earns you even more money, and winning the national championship wins you even more money for your conference. So you're already at a massive financial advantage without even playing in the playoffs, just based on the amount of revenue that your conference generates, which is fine. That's capitalism at its finest. I don't have any problem with that. But now you're guaranteed to take away a much bigger chunk of the playoff money on top of that. All this does is create a bigger chasm between those 2 conferences and everybody else. And I don't think that's good. I don't think that's a good thing for the long-term health of the sport. Now, I am old school. I'll admit it. So it is what it is. I would like to hear some of you guys' thoughts on this. The SEC and the Big Ten are throwing around their weight a little bit here. Gotta love current Commissioner John Swofford. Jim Phillips, true trailblazer. Yeah, he's a trailblazer, all right. He's trailblazing the ACC right into the fucking dirt. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Good evening, gentlemen. Sorry, I was reading a news article there.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, no, you're fine. I just got in here.
Anyway, I'm assuming you guys have heard about this or read about
it. I watched Lou's video on it Monday or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, it doesn't make... Well, it makes great sense for the SEC and the Big Ten. I don't know if this is their way to say, like, hey, we're going to go form our own league unless we get our way doing it, this way.
Well, and a lot of people, I still hear a lot about that on Twitter. And it's like, all that shit, like college football breaking away sounds good in theory. But number one, I don't think the universities care enough about it to even entertain those ideas. And number two, the universities still have to play nice with the NCAA and every other sport. So I just don't see that as being realistic.
Yeah. What do you think, Sea-Dog?
As far as them breaking away to form their own conference, I mean, or not their own conference, their own playoff. I mean, I think that's why, I think they were actually willing to do that. That's why they're getting their way here. Is it confirmed, or is this just what they're talking about?
I'm hearing conflicting things. I heard, I saw a clip of the Josh Pate show. I think it might have been from yesterday, where he was talking about this, and he said something about it's written into the contract that come 2026 that the SEC and the Big Ten have basically more deciding power than the other conferences do on this on the format of the playoffs. Now, that's the first I've heard of that. I mean, if that's who would agree to that? I don't.
Well, if what Lou said in his video is correct, and I don't know if it is, the other conferences basically just agreed to it, like bowed down to the SEC.
I swear.
Which I highly doubt. Like, that just sounds sus on its face.
Well, it'd be one thing to say, okay, we want to expand the playoffs and we want to expand the auto bids, but to give, we're the ones making calling the shots here, so we're going to give us twice as many auto bids as everybody else? That's not fair.
It's not. It really rustles my jimmies.
And here's the thing.
I think it's complete horseshit.
It is complete horseshit, and here's why. They're basically saying, look, we're better conferences than the other ones, so we deserve more teams in the playoff. Okay, well, all right, let's say the SEC and the Big Ten, and we can argue about this too, but let's, hypothetically speaking, we're clear and away the two best conferences in 2024. Okay, fine. Does that mean they're going to be the two best conferences in 2027? Or 8? Or 9? No.
Right. That was Lou's overall point why he didn't like it. And I agree. Like, okay, the SEC's been on a 20-year run, but you go back to the early 2000s and the 90s, I mean, was it the ACC and the Big East?
Yeah.
Like, this changes over time.
Yeah.
And it's going to continue to change.
Yeah, and the SEC, if they have 4 teams in this year, I mean, they didn't deserve to have 4 teams in this year. They weren't that good. I mean, they had it would have been Alabama and South Carolina. There was 2, 3 lost teams. That would have been 4.
Well, actually, Lou actually broke it down based off of the rankings on Conference Championship Week, and it would have been Alabama and Ole Miss that got in.
Okay, still.
Okay, yeah, so.
Now, granted, by that system that they're proposing, Miami would have gotten in as well.
Wouldn't it have been in Clemson and SMU still?
Yeah, they both would have got in, but the ACC actually, in a 14-team setup, the ACC would have got 3 schools in because Miami was still ranked high enough.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I don't know. I think, and there's many ways you can look at it. If you're going to expand, I think people are kind of upset about the way things went this last year with, with Boise getting in where they did, the seed they got in, and all that. But let's just say, okay, the top 4, the power conferences get an automatic bid, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily in the top 4. They can still be ranked anywhere in the top 14, but they get an automatic bid in the playoffs. And everybody else is an at-large bid. I mean, I don't know why they have to make things so complicated. We already have a committee. Let the committee decide who's ranked 1 through 14. And just place them in those seats.
Like, if you want to actually make college football better, I think that's something that needs to go as the committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like the idea of auto bids in the first place either.
Well, I don't have a problem with auto bids for, like, conference champs. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an incentive to win your conference.
Yes, I guess so.
And
now, I'm not a fan of auto bids for Group of 5. I mean, listen, I get we're in the participation trophy era. but that doesn't mean that the bronze medalists from the Special Olympics should be in here with everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should get in if they go undefeated. But
I don't even think they should get in if they go undefeated.
Oh, well, come on. If there's 14 or 12, whatever teams.
I mean, listen, I get it, but even Boise at their best, they got into a few New Year's Six games. Only won one of them in that game against Oklahoma, and literally had to pull every trick play in the book out. I mean, they pulled the fumble Roosty halfway through the third quarter.
There should be a path. There should be a path for.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Their path is if they finish in the top 14. Like, I think the undefeated thing, like you said, is kind of a moot point because if they are undefeated and win their conference, they're probably going to be ranked in the top 14 anyway. You see what I mean?
Sometimes. No, I mean, not always.
Most of the time, I think, because like Boise this last year, they would have had to have beat a couple of Power 5 teams to do that. And they did lose to one of them, but like a field goal, right, to Oregon, right?
Well, actually, that was the only Power 5 team they played.
Oh, was it? I thought they played more than one.
Yeah, like that because that was my argument that when we were getting down to figure out who the Group of 5 team to be in my opinion, Army had a much stronger argument for it than Boise did.
You know, it's funny too. I see Sid Irish in here. The only team that this would not affect at all would be Notre Dame because their situation's the same in the 14 to 16 team playoff as it is in the 12 team playoff.
They just have to finish in that.
They just have to finish in the top 14 now instead of top 12. I just don't think it's.
But they still can never get a bye, which is funny.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't seem to care about that, though.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there was a bunch of fans. You remember, I think it was the Oregon fans who were complaining about how long the bye was because it wasn't. Don't they go like 5 weeks without playing or something?
5 weeks?
Yeah, something like that. Or a month.
I don't think anybody. I don't think. Well, yeah, that is true.
Every one of them.
Oh. I would still prefer to have a bye to get guys healthy, but the flip side of that is, you get stale. You don't play for 4 weeks. I mean, because even in the NFL, if you get a bye, it's only 1 week, so you just get 1 week off. You don't get multiple weeks off. Yeah. What if the ACC got 8 auto bids into the March Madness tournament?
Yeah, right. Everybody would be. Listen, if that happened, fucking Preparation H would disappear from every store shelf within a matter of hours.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to give preferential treatment to any one conference or 2 conferences. It needs to be the same for all Power 4 conferences. Otherwise, just dissolve the conferences and make two super conferences and be done with it.
I agree, and like you said, it just sets a horrible precedent for and like you said, it raises or it widens the gap between the Big Ten and the SEC and everybody else.
Well, and to the point of dominant conferences change over time. Okay, just say for the sake of argument they do it. You could very well have a year where you have 4 auto bids from the SEC, and only one of them's even ranked in the top 25.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, if you have teams from another conference who are better than the auto bid from the SEC, the 4th auto bid from the SEC or the Big Ten, then what?
Yeah.
Which is going to happen, by the way. I mean, it's just a matter of mathematics. Eventually, it's going to happen. It might happen the first year.
It's happened before. I mean,
yeah. So I don't know. This is just, I guess they had this meeting and this is what they're just sort of discussing. But if what they say is true about them being able to have more decision-making power in the structure of the playoffs, I don't understand why that ever was allowed to happen.
Like I said, the best explanation I've heard, and I'm assuming it's true, is Lou's video, and he said the other conferences basically just gave it to the SEC and the Big Ten.
Well, you know what? That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Listen, I could see it out of the ACC commissioner. I don't see it out of the Big 12 commissioner.
Yeah, he seems to be definitely a better commissioner than what we have.
But at that point, if it is just him, he's odd man out, and he's kind of fucked.
Yeah, committed, exactly. The auto bids mean that the SEC and the Big Ten will recruit more talent than others conferences, and the rich get richer. Yeah, because, I mean, if you're recruiting, you're like, hey, you have a better chance of going to the playoffs in this conference than you do if you go to Clemson or Miami or Georgia, wherever. So, you know, that might help affect their decision to play there.
Well, I think what this does is show me that there's a push to the NFL model, two conferences.
Well, then, yeah, okay, well, that might be where it's headed. But it seems like it's going to be a very long and drawn-out road to get there.
Well, because if they did it overnight, they would split the fan base in half. Because there's too many people that just don't like that idea. So it's that death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. The Superior Eastern Conference makes the rules. Yeah. I mean, I also think that the Big Ten and the SEC, you know, creating their own league or playoff system just with them two would also ruin the sport. I think it would be bad for them just as bad it would be for everybody else. I don't even know why they would want that.
Listen, the SEC, yes, college football is vastly more popular in the South. Nobody disagrees with that. But they couldn't carry it on their own.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of TV contract they could get, but they probably could carry it on their own. I don't know if it would be as popular as it is now, though.
Yeah, well, that's my point, though.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be.
Jim Phillips is just, he's heard my sarcasm and Sea Dog's sarcasm, and he's not happy with your lack of support for his vision.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm fresh out of fucks to give.
I wonder what it's like being who makes decisions for Notre Dame? Is it their athletic director or their president or somebody?
Yeah,
I would guess it's the athletic director.
Yeah, imagine him.
Well, I mean, when it comes to joining conferences, like, and I've said this because people bring up what Bobby Bowden said 35 years ago this day, which bewilders me. But like, when it comes to changing conferences, I'm fairly certain that's a decision above a head coach's pay grade, or probably even the AD's pay grade, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, it is, but I think depending on who the coach is, they definitely have an influence on things. Like, I know sure. Dabo Swinney's got an influence over Graham Neff. I don't know how big of an influence. Yeah, I don't think anybody really knows.
Well, like I said, though, I think when it comes to changing conferences like that, I think that even goes above the AD to more like the board of trustees and the university president. Yeah, and even a lot of them are influenced by the coach or somebody else too. Oh, sure. Again, it depends on the school. I mean, I don't think the head coach at Coastal Carolina's got a bunch of weight to pull around, you know, Coastal Carolina's athletic department probably, but, you know, places like Clemson or Alabama or Georgia, I think the coaches do. Well, a lot of that has to do with the times, though, as well. Like, college football in 1990 it wasn't what college football is now. So I don't think that, you know, Dabo Swinney in 1990 would have had the influence that he has today. The landscape has changed. Yeah.
Well, back in the day, Bobby Dodd was a big reason we left the SEC.
What was the reasoning behind that?
He did not like the practice of processing players, basically cutting them from the roster. He was like an old-fashioned guy, and he didn't think it was right. And everybody was doing it, and that was like a big reason. He just thought it was he thought it was worth leaving the SEC.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
like he thought that you offer a kid a scholarship, you don't cut them, you follow through on your commitment, which is morally
I
the
agree
right
with,
thing
by
to
the
do.
way.
Morally, it's the right thing to do. Everybody else was not doing that, and yeah. So
that sounds familiar. It sounds a lot like a current coach
exactly,
that we all know.
exactly.
Well, there's an example of a coach having a influence over leaving a conference, but again,
That was back in the day.
that's a
though.
different time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different time as well.
Back in the day, John Heisman, he used to coach our baseball team and our football team.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure there are also individuals that you can point to through different periods of time, whether it be John Heisman, Walter Kemp, that had undue influence.
Shout out to John Heisman, former Clemson football coach too. Yeah.
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 Good times.
He coached a lot of places, I think.
Yeah. Good times.
He coached at Clemson. He coached at Georgia Tech. He coached at LSU too, didn't he?
I don't know about LSU.
I think he did.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's why I said shout out to Walter Kemp with his 22 national titles. Nick Saban, eat your heart out.
Uh-oh. Who was that? Penn's coach?
No, that was Yale's coach.
Oh, Yale.
Yeah, he got 22 out of their 27.
Wow.
Got some catching up to do there, Roll Tide Gumps.
That was before
We had 3 coaches in a row win a natty. So that I've heard like LSU fans flex that they had 3 coaches in a row win a natty. But we didn't.
Yeah, but in a system that was supposed to keep from having split titles, they had the only split title.
Yeah, well, come on, 5th down, come on.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about old St. Nick had the only split title in the BCS era.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were bringing up 5th down again.
That was Colorado that had a 5th down, not Georgia Tech.
Colorado, yeah. Well, people give me shit all the time about splitting a title in 1990. But they had a 5th down, so it doesn't even count.
Can't you just log into Wikipedia and change that for good now?
Good idea.
Actually, no. On the NCAA's website, it's down as a split title. That's why Nick will never get over that because, according to the NCAA record, 03 is a split title.
Oh, I'm talking about the Georgia Tech one.
No.
If there's any justice in the world.
Well, if there's any justice in the world, Miami should have a piece of that one too. So you want to go down that road?
Listen, you keep bringing this up every time, and this was 7 years before I was born, so I don't know anything about the 1990 Miami team. But
Hold on now.
I'd rather split it with Miami than someone who had a 5th down. I'll tell you that much.
So now what you're saying, Slim, is there should be 3 title claimers that year. So.
Oh, there should be. And listen, even during the commentary of Miami's bowl game against Texas, the commentators blatantly said Miami should be the national titles, but they don't deserve to be.
But they should have been in.
That was
instead of who?
In the middle of the real Miami 8 years.
They should have been in instead of who?
That their game should have gotten them a piece of the national title.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, that was before one didn't play 2 every year. It was figured up after the bowl games and whatever polls declared whoever the national champion.
We should just go back to that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. No, I'm not that backwards. I'm backwards thinking, but not that far back.
Yeah.
You'd rather have 2014 playoff?
Then just have the AP pick the champion? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just the AP. Like, I think it was, I think the coaches poll was the one that had Colorado at one. The AP was the one that had Georgia Tech at one.
Involving the coaches poll in it is even that's even worse. I mean,
shit.
What happened?
I'm feeding my dogs, and I dropped his food bowl and spilled the food everywhere. Damn it. He'll eat it. He'll eat it.
Yeah, he'll eat it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Man, I pick shit up off the floor. I clean my floor on a regular basis. 5-second rule.
Dinner's served, buddy. I'm sorry.
Sea-Dog Yoda wants to know: are you having an NBA All-Star game party this weekend? I thought the All-Star game was this past week. Was that wrong?
I don't know, but that means they'll actually start playing basketball now.
I think that's the
because most of them don't give a shit until after the All-Star break.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the joke he's making is that I would celebrate it on the day where it's not.
Oh, I got it. Okay, I went right over my head. Yeah. I was about to say, I didn't watch any of it, but I'm pretty sure it happened.
Yeah.
I know there was some controversy over the guy who won the slam dunk contest or something. I don't know.
Now, listen, I mean...
You know, I hate to be that old man because I sound like Celine Driver, but like I grew up with guys like Vince Carter winning the dunk contest. It was just way better.
Well, we've had this conversation with guys on the midday show that are a little bit younger, about the different eras of basketball, the 80s and the 90s, and then the 2010s and now. And the proof is in the pudding. The ratings for the NBA right now are at an all-time low.
That's why I can't figure why people in college football are trying to push an NFL model, because NFL ratings are down too.
Oh, they're still way more than college football. It's not even close.
Yeah, they're still above college football, but they're down. Like across the board, MLB, NFL, and NBA are all down.
I'm pretty sure
more degrees than others.
This past Super Bowl was the most watched Super Bowl in history. So, no, that's.
I understand that. I'm talking during the season, though.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, it's still above college football, but it's down from its highest peak.
The guy who won the slam dunk contest won 3 years in a row, but can't stay on an NBA roster. So he's just really good at dunking the ball. Pretty much.
He
should be. He should get in that trampoline league where he just does flips and, does dunks all day long.
Nice.
Oh. I don't know. I watch the NBA only when I bet on it. Because I don't care about it. But I do see a big difference in the product. I mean, it's just not the same as it used to be. It's not the same. It's not as physical as it used to be. It's more of a three-point shooting contest than anything. And I'm not saying there's not physical guys in the league or that it's easy or anything like that. But it's not the knockdown, drag-out fights that used to take place for 3 hours every time, the Bulls and the Celtics got together.
I mean, hell, you go back to the early 90s. I mean, in some respects, especially if you were watching a Pistons game, you couldn't tell the difference between basketball and hockey.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. They're laughing all the way to the bank. Yeah, the ratings are at an all-time low. The contracts, however, are at an all-time high. So go figure that one out.
Yeah, makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Well, MLB's got the same problem, but yet, guys now are getting $600 million contracts on the regular.
Yeah, I think a lot. Well, obviously the TV money is more now, worth more now than it used to be. But I think it's also the sponsorships are the main thing now.
Well, even beyond sponsorships, look at ticket prices, merchandise prices. They're charging people more than they've ever charged them before.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, I remember going to even like a Major League Baseball game when I was 9, 10 years old. ticket was like $20. You get a hot dog and a soda for like $2 or $3. Now a hot dog's like $12. You know, a ticket, you're lucky to get one for under $100 unless you're sitting at the, you know, in the nosebleeds.
Yeah, soda's $12.
You know. Baseball's got its own issues, I think. Yeah, it's just everything these days is fast-paced. You know, TikTok and YouTube Shorts, and sitting there and watching a slow game for 4 hours doesn't appeal to most Gen Zers, I guess I should say.
My brother is a Zoomer, and his attention span is shot.
I mean, listen, I've never had a problem with the pace of baseball games. Like, I've never understood, well, we got to speed the game up. Why? It's like, I've never understood, well, we have to have robot umpires to make sure that every call, every time is absolutely right. Well, no, that was part of the game, is figuring out what every strike zone was and working it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Plus, I mean, it's fun to watch, you know, them argue. You can't argue with a computer screen. I mean, you can. You look like a total idiot if you did, but you could.
Now, I do think that is a problem. Like, umpires got way too quick a trigger on trying to throw somebody out of a game. Like, that was something I think needed to change.
I don't know, how do you regulate that, though?
Stop letting them throw people out of games, period.
Yeah. There's got to be a line, though. I mean, you can't punch somebody.
Well, no, but that's going to get you ejected from pretty much any game. In any sport.
What's that one umpire that everybody hates?
Oh, Angel Hernandez?
Yeah. How does he still have a job?
Because he sued Major League Baseball for discrimination. He pulled the race card.
Josh Peete might have the third biggest Clemson youth channel on YouTube. Yeah, I know a lot of Clemson fans are upset with him all the time. I don't agree with everything he says, but you got to understand what he's doing. You know, if you come on and talk about a certain team in a certain way and you get the type of attention you're looking for, then you're going to do more of that content. That's all he's doing.
Well, that man, I don't see how anybody can be mad with him. That man finds a way to come up with a reason why every team in America can win 10 games.
Not Georgia Tech.
Shit me, don't.
I'm sure he's going to say a lot of great things about Brent Key and.
No, I mean, when we hired him, he said he basically said we should have hired Willie Fritz instead.
All right. Well, that was a few years ago. What about now?
Get me off. I don't know. The thing is, this is like verifiable. He's very good friends with. Hey, oh, scared me.
Stop talking to your cat. You're in the show.
Sorry, it's a stray cat, and she just showed up.
Of course, it's not a stray cat anymore. It's your cat now.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's now a member of the household.
Maybe you could help me with this, Slim. I've been keeping her inside lately because there's a coyote on the loose. And
it's called natural selection there, brother.
No, the idea is for it to not eat this cat, is what I would like.
I got news for you. There's not just one coyote on the loose. They don't live alone.
Yeah, right.
It got into my neighbor's chickens, and it killed all my neighbor's chickens.
Well, you don't have any chickens, do you?
A couple weeks ago. No, but I have this cat that I'd rather not get killed.
Hey, there was this guy named Charles Darwin, had this theory of survival of the fittest. I mean, if the cat lives, it's meant to live.
All right, well, we'll see how fit this freaking coyote is for survival when I blow its head off.
Well, the cat can climb a tree, I'm assuming. If it's unless you declawed it, which I'm sure you didn't. The coyote can't. So he should be all right.
Let's see. What were we talking about?
I forget.
Cats and coyotes.
I was in the middle of saying something or the other.
I thought you said that B-Dogs was the one with the short attention span.
All right.
What was I talking about? It was about Josh Peete and referencing freaking Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ever since Brent Key's taken over, this is verifiable. He is very good friends with Jeff Collins. So after Jeff Collins got fired, this is not fiction. He made a segment basically saying that Jeff Collins did not succeed because of COVID.
Because of COVID?
Yes.
What about all the other coaches? They had it okay?
He said that it disproportionately affected some teams more than others. He said that Nick Saban at Alabama was not affected by COVID as bad as, for example, Georgia Tech.
Now, that might be believable, but did he give it any reasons or examples why that was?
Well, yeah, he actually did, which I actually made a video debunking this whole thing. He said that it disproportionately affected him because, well, we're rebuilding at this time, and it hurts recruiting because we weren't able to host recruits on campus, and do the normal situation with them, which was the reality, right? However, I vividly remember this was my very first year on YouTube. The 2020 season going into 2021, we had a top 25 class going into that year. So I would argue that he actually was not freaking negatively affected his recruiting by COVID. In fact, he did a good job recruiting. The problem was he trotted out this awful team on the field in 2021, and everyone decommitted. And that was the reason they decommitted, not because of freaking COVID. That was the reason that we won 3 games that year, and year 3 of Jeff Collins. I mean, is it COVID's fault that we had 4 blocked punts throughout 4 games in year 4?
Yes, you can't block a punt when you're wearing a mask.
Yeah. So
can't see the ball.
I made a video going over that a year or 2 ago, and he actually he commented on my video. Josh Peete did.
And what did he say?
He said, I can pull it up now. He said that I misrepresented his points and misunderstood what he was saying. He basically doubled down, which is wild because I really. So
he said you're full of shit is what he said in a nice way. Yeah. Yeah. Damn.
And then he pulled the card of his insider info.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah, get back in your place, YouTube boy.
Yeah, because I put a disclaimer. I was like, now look, one of the things he also mentioned briefly in his Jeff Collins excuse parade was that apparently in contract negotiations when they were hiring Jeff Collins, there were promises made by the school that weren't followed through on. So, I mean, and I said that he mentioned that basically, but there's no way I could have known, there's no way I can have that information.
Well,
but he brought that up.
The problem with the whole argument on his side is, of course, that's an obvious thing to say, well, some teams were affected more than others by COVID. Yeah, not football-wise necessarily. but just the way the whole university operated, I mean, everyone had different protocol. I mean, some of these schools were a lot more lax on the restrictions for COVID than others. So
that's because some states were. Now, if you said that USC was more affected than Florida State or Miami, yeah, that's a true statement, because the state of California was way stricter on the COVID protocols than the state of Florida.
Yeah. And were they even allowed to practice and hit each other, at UCLA? Probably not. Where at Alabama they were or something. That's kind of my point is he's going to be right no matter what when he says that. But if you're going to say that, if you're going to use one or two specific teams as an example, you need to give like a real reason why those two.
And here was his other big. Here's his comment. I found it. He said, distorted and misrepresented my points related to COVID by leaving out comments about disproportionate experience levels on rosters due to super senior rules. So basically what he was saying was we didn't have the amount of seniors as some of our opponents did. He said it was the entire crux of his argument. So basically he's trying to explain away Jeff Collins' poor performance on the field by saying we had a lot of young players, which what I say to that is, well, we had a better roster in 2022 than we did in 2023, which was Brent Key's interim year. We had a better roster that year. We had Jordan Mason and Jahmyr Gibbs. We had two freaking NFL running backs in the backfield, and we had and after Jeff Collins got fired, or no, it was after we had gone 3-9 that year and lost 100-0 combined to Notre Dame and Georgia. Everyone left. All our best players and all of our best coaching staff left. So we were gutted at the end of that year. So we had a worse roster in 2023 than 2022. How come Brent Key was able to take that very same roster, which he claimed was just not, old enough or experienced enough or whatever, or deep enough? How come Brent Key was able to take that roster and immediately win games with it? The next week, the very week Brent Key took the interim role, we turned around and beat a top 25 team on the road.
Oh, I'd be interested to see if he still feels that way. Seeing how things have played out.
He'll never admit it.
Well,
he's starting to warm up to Brent Key, and but he's pissed me off, man. Like he does a segment. He has some kind of rule on his show. He's like, okay, we always talk about the winners first. That's his rule. Well, whenever there's a huge upset, i.e. Georgia Tech beating Miami last year and this year, he did it both times. He's like, okay, our rule on the show is we have to talk about the winners first. And then he's like, "But what can I really say about Georgia Tech? I mean, props to Brent Key. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, he's trolling you.
If you're gonna have that rule and then just shit on the team that won, what's the point of the rule? Come on, man."
So Josh Pate props up everybody except for Georgia Tech. Is that what you're telling me?
Georgia Tech, I swear, and it's because he's friends with freaking Jeff Collins, dude.
Oh.
And when we promoted Brent Key. We promoted Brent Key. He did a segment saying that basically that we should have hired Willie Fritz and that we were too impatient to hire Willie Fritz, and he was implying that we were going to be, he says things in a nice way, but.
Well, to be fair, at the time, Willie Fritz was more proven than Brent Key.
I'm sure. Well, now look at it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen. Most people in that situation are going to go with a known commodity versus an unknown.
Yeah, sure.
The majority of the time.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like, we just came off of Paul Johnson for 11 or 12 years or whatever it was, and then Jeff Collins, which was pretty much antithesis of Paul Johnson. Bless you. And the last.
Well, did Paul Johnson ever have a 3-win season? I don't think so.
He did, actually, but it was coming off of the heels of, of a
a transformation into a different type of team. Transitioning from the triple option into
when he took over, Paul Johnson, he was killing it. It was.
I'm about to say, considering when Paul Johnson took over, like the triple option was still a prevalent offense.
Yeah, he did really well with the the players that he was able to have that he didn't have to recruit. He was great in the first couple of years. He had a 3-win season, but that was coming off of an ACC title appearance, and we had like a ton of injuries. We had a ton of players leave, and even then, in that season, we got a win against the top 10 Florida State.
So, what I still can't wrap my mind around is how Megatron looked at that offense and said, "Yeah, that's where I want to go." Well, like that still kind of bewilders me a little bit.
Well, it wasn't the triple option.
Yeah, when he was there, what?
He was there before the triple option.
I thought he was there with Paul Johnson.
No.
Okay, my bad. Excuse me. My apologies.
No, that was right before we started on the triple option. But anyway, yeah, I mean, he has thrown shade at us for people who think he just it's all sunshine pumping with him. It's freaking not, because he's pretty much disrespected us in the past few years. He's slowly starting to warm up to us.
Wait a minute. Josh Pate sunshine pumps for every team but Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, he hasn't been sunshine pumping for Clemson, which is why a lot of Clemson people are upset with him. Yeah. But it doesn't bother me. I mean, his opinion is as good as yours or Sea Dog's as far as I'm concerned. Everyone's got their own opinion. But I don't know. I mean, his position is that despite the fact that Dabo Swinney is getting transfers and this and that and changing coaches, that they're still never going to live up to the hype that they had back in 2015 through 2019. And my position on that is, well, maybe, because
I mean, it's possible.
I mean, it's possible, but they were one of the two best programs for 6 years.
I don't think Dabo Swinney has forgotten how to coach, number one.
No.
I mean, unless you think that the majority of Clemson's success came via Brent Venables.
No. I mean, the guy who hired Brent Venables and went and got him was Dabo Swinney.
Well, I understand that, but I'm saying, like, that's... that line of thinking is where you could say, okay, Clemson's done. And I'm not going to say there's no validity to that argument. I mean, there were absolutely years, in that stretch where your offense lacked, but your defense kept you in there.
Yeah. See, now when the offense was lacking, here's the thing with me. This is just me. I can't speak for every Clemson fan out there. When the offense is lacking, I do directly blame Dabo Swinney for that, because he's got his hands all in that. He's an offensive guy. The thing with Brent Venables is, and hopefully what's going to happen with Tom Allen, which obviously did not happen with Wes Goodwin because he's never been a coordinator before and he wasn't that kind of coach, is that he just, essentially Brent Venables was the head coach of the defense. Like, Dabo Swinney didn't have anything to say about it, nothing to do about it, other than going and visiting recruits and help land recruits. He wasn't scheming. He wasn't coaching the guys on the field. He was just he let Brent Venables do that. I don't think that Wes Goodwin was able to do that. I just don't think he's that kind of guy. I think he's a play caller and not a hands-on type coach. Hopefully Tom Allen has that same thing. So I don't disagree with people when they say Clemson wouldn't have been what they were without Brent Venables. Yeah, I mean, I think that's obvious now that we haven't had him for a few years, and you saw the steady decline of the defense, but that doesn't mean that there's only one Brent Venables out there who can do that kind of thing. There's multiple of them around the country, and hopefully we got the guy that can do it. We'll all find out together here in the next few years.
What? I'm not sure if I would even put as much of the blame on the offense as Dabo as you, because sure, Dabo's, I guess you could call him an offensive guy. He was a wide receivers coach, but he was never a coordinator.
No, he was never a coordinator, but you still see him on the sideline with a play call sheet. he's got his hands all in it, and he even says it himself. You know, remember when they hired Garrett Riley, and they were like, you know, what's the Garrett Riley offense going to look like? And Dabo's like, there's no such thing as a Garrett Riley offense. There's only a Clemson offense, and it's like, yeah, we get it. We get this. It's a team and all that, and y'all work as a team, but it needs to be Garrett Riley's offense, doesn't it?
I would tend to agree. Like, that's why I had to give Mario credit this year, because he does that same thing. You know, he walks around with the laminated play sheet stuck in the front of his pants, and marches up and down the sideline. Like, if he's over there coaching up the offensive line, fine, I ain't got a problem in the world with that. What the fuck is Mario Cristobal going to tell a wide receiver? What's he going to tell a quarterback?
Yeah.
Like, I need you to stay in your lane. And to his credit, I have to give him credit, because Mario's known for, that was part of the knock on him, was his micromanaging. He didn't do that this year.
But that's normal. Like, let's take Nick Saban, for example, the greatest ever. He had his hands all in that defense.
I'll still argue.
All right,
that
whatever. Just for argument's sake. But he's still Nick Saban. He had his hands all in that defense.
Sure, but he was also a defensive coordinator.
Right. Well, he's a defensive guy. And I mean, you see this all. What is Brent Key was? What did he play in college?
I know he was an O-line coach.
Lineman. Yeah.
So, do you think he's not out there coaching up the offensive lineman as opposed to the defensive lineman?
Like I said, I don't have a problem with, but I don't need Brent Key or Mario Cristobal trying to coach up a fucking wide receiver.
Yeah.
He says he lets it. He claims to let his position coaches do the work. He says he has to pry himself away from checking in on the offensive line.
Yeah.
He tries to, walk around practice.
And let me be clear on this. I'm not saying that Nick Saban isn't the greatest. I'm just saying it's not as clear-cut as people try and make it out to be. Because unfortunately for Nick, he didn't have the level of competition against him that other people had. Like, we say this all the time. If Bobby Bowden won 10 national titles, if he didn't have, Miami on his schedule every year, and as close as all those games were. But to that point, guys like Bobby had to deal with Miami on their 25-year run, Nebraska on their 35-year run. Nick was basically unopposed by comparison.
I mean, you had the Clemson teams.
Yeah. It's like comparing LeBron and Michael Jordan, and it's different times.
I agree completely.
Yeah,
and that's my point. That's why it's not so clear cut.
Yeah. Well, the argument is it would be harder to win in Nick Saban's era with more competition than just Nebraska and just 2 or 3 other teams to compete against.
Well, you didn't have just 2 or 3 other teams. You had Florida State on a historic run. You had Nebraska on a historic run. You had Miami on a historic run, all at the same time. You had Barry Switzer's Oklahoma teams on their run, all at the same time. You had a couple of one-hit wonders in Nick Saban's tenure. You had the Cam Newton Auburn team. You had the Jimbo Florida State team. But, I mean, Clemson was the biggest thing to any other kind of dominant run at the time in college football.
Yeah, I mean, they beat them twice in national championship games. But I don't know. I think he's probably, well, he's definitely the best coach in my lifetime so far. But my life's not over yet.
Like I said, I'm not so sure of that. I may or may not have some people closer to him than what others do. Well, like I said, I'm not even saying he's not the best. Maybe. But I can't definitively say that it's hard. It's hard to match up his run versus, say, Bobby Bowden or Tom Osborne's, because for one, both of theirs were longer.
Yeah, he put together a good 10-year dominant run though, where they were just the best program in football. You know, even other teams would win, like you said, you know, here or there, but overall. He's won multiple national championships with multiple different teams. That's another thing, not just one team. Saban had to deal with Urban Meyer. Yeah, he had to deal with Urban Meyer, Dabo Swinney, and Jimbo Fisher. Am I leaving anybody out? Who else did he have to deal with?
I mean, okay, you still. I mean, if you're talking about the older guys, you still got Phil Fulmer in that run. You still got Steve Spurrier in that run.
I mentioned him, yeah.
I mean, Nebraska absolutely blew Steve Spurrier off the field. They didn't score a point in that national title game.
Gus Malzahn, maybe? I mean, that wasn't really...
Jesus.
I mean...
Talk about scraping the bottom of the... Yeah, he had to deal with... Thank you for making my point. He had to deal with Gus Malzahn.
Well, in state he did. A&M is still dealing with Jimbo Fisher. Yeah. I'm jealous of him.
Yeah, if there's anybody out there that feels bad for Jimbo Fisher, I need you to rethink your priorities.
I'm jealous of Jimbo and Ed Orgeron. They got the best deals going.
Yeah, right?
These other dummies are out here still running around trying to be relevant. These guys are sitting on a beach somewhere in Tahiti, just counting stacks of money.
Well, Ed Orgeron's sitting on a beach in Miami. His son's on Mario's staff, so he keeps popping his head up in Miami at practices.
Somebody had a really good idea earlier. We were talking about that coyote. C-Dog, you have a rifle, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a shotgun with slugs in it, but
yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Just go full Bill Murray style.
Yeah, dude, I watched Caddyshack yesterday.
Yeah, just go full Caddyshack on that coyote. Like, set up booby traps, lay on your roof at night, and just with your night scope.
Yeah, and if you take out a golf course in the process, great.
Yeah.
I've never. I need to go get a night scope, I guess, but I have a little coyote call thing.
A coyote call?
Yeah, so it spins around and it makes the sound like a like injured prey.
Perfect. So you've got the bait.
Yeah.
Now you just have to have the determination.
Right.
I think it's time to eliminate that threat. You don't want little Snuggles or whatever that cat's name is getting eaten alive tonight.
Belly.
Yeah.
I've been keeping her inside because just so she can be safe. Yeah.
Well, if you want her to be safe, kill that coyote. Do you have any explosives?
No, I don't have any explosives.
Well,
now, I'm going to go ahead and warn you. A night vision scope is going to set you back a minimum of $2
yeah.
Really? Damn.
Yeah, oh yeah. Those things are, like I said, on the low end, a couple of grand.
Yeah, they are. That's all right.
Oh, maybe I'm in.
That cat's life is worth $2,000, isn't it? C-Dog?
Jeez.
Hey, let me tell you something though. You will get your money's worth out of night vision. I promise you. Or thermal's not a bad option. Those things are great.
What is it?
Thermal imaging scopes.
Yeah, heat signature.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Oh, those things are fucking awesome, dude. I'm telling you.
Where do they carry those? You think they got them at like Adventure Outdoors or what?
Squidtar wants an update on your cat. Well, it's a stray cat. There's a coyote loose. He doesn't want the coyote to eat the stray cat. That's the update. C-Dog's got so many animals now. You ever seen the second Ace Ventura Pet Detective when he goes to Africa?
Oh, yeah.
And he like walks out there, and all the birds and all the animals come up to him, and like the birds all land on him, and he's like got all these animals surrounding him. He's like Jesus Christ of the animal kingdom. That's what Sea Dog is like in his house.
I'm like a Disney princess.
Oh, dude, you want it to get worse? When I got on TikTok, my wife got on TikTok, and now all she keeps looking up is these fucking miniature goats and miniature Highland cows.
Oh yeah.
My wife wants goats.
I totally could see Sea Dog with a goat.
My wife wants them.
Well, I've always wanted like 10 or 15 of those fainting goats and just put them in my front yard so I can fuck with people as they drive by.
Yeah. Yeah, what?
That is all the new.
Sometimes evolution fucks up.
Yeah, when did farm animals become like pets now? That's a thing now.
Dude, I don't know. And like you're hitting the nail on the head. Like these people have a fucking miniature Highland cow in their house.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like if I have one, great, but the fucker's gonna be outside.
Yeah, you see his goats running around somebody's living room, and it's got a diaper on. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. No.
You can't.
That's not happening.
You can't. Can you train a goat to go shit outside like a dog?
Well, I saw it on Shark Tank. There's a system where you can train a cat to use your toilet so you don't have to have a litter box. So, I mean, I imagine you could apply it to a goat as well.
I've seen that, and I thought about it, but apparently it's not good for their health.
Yeah, but it's really good for me not having to clean out a fucking litter box.
Well, I care about my cats, so I'm gonna just do what's best for them.
I mean, I care about my dog too, but at the same time, he's just a dog.
Well, my dogs can go out in the yard at least, so. Now I know.
Like, I'm not spending thousands of dollars to save an animal. Fucker, if you got cancer, nice knowing you.
Yeah, I draw the line. If the first time I see goat shit inside of my house, we're having goat for dinner. And
Well, goats shouldn't be in a house.
Oh, dude, I knew somebody, one of my friend's sons bought his girlfriend one of those micro potbelly pigs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other one, pigs.
Basically the same thing happened, only it wasn't the pig shit in the house. The pig bit somebody. So we had barbecue.
Oh, pigs bite?
Apparently.
Damn.
They can chew through bone.
Well, yeah, I know they can eat, they can eat a dead body or something. Yeah. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, good way to get rid of a dead body, FYI, if you ever have that need, is throw it into a pig pen.
Never trust a pig farmer.
Oh, no.
You have to pull out the teeth, though. Right?
No, I never had a pet armadillo, but we did look it up on YouTube, and there are people out there dumb enough to have them running around their house.
Yeah, that's a big negative.
That's like having a rat as a pet.
A rat?
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to me? Yeah. We had a guinea pig, but unfortunately she died last year. I'm sorry. I know you wanted to come eat her, Pete.
I don't want to eat the guinea pig, no.
You said you were going to.
I don't like guinea pigs.
Well, I think that's why you wanted to eat it.
The only reason is when I was a kid, my next door neighbor had one, and that fucking thing it would always bite me. It was mean. I didn't like it.
Our girl was.
Dude, I had a friend when I was a kid, and it's probably a good thing that I didn't remain friends with him. But he had a hamster, and he put the fucking thing in a microwave.
Oh my god!
God damn.
Psychopath.
Yeah, man. I mean, I look back at that later, and I was like, good thing I quit hanging out with that fucking sociopath.
Yeah, how many people has he killed?
Like, psychopaths is how you treat small animals as a kid. You, like, torture them, then...
I never tortured animals. I did tell you I put a frog in Clorox once. Lou told me that was serial killer behavior. I was like, not really. I mean, somebody told me if you put a frog in a jar of Clorox, then it just, like, eats all of its skin off, and it just ends up being a skeleton.
Oh, my God.
And I was like... well, this can't be true. Let's find out. Turns out he was right.
Oh, really? Right? Oh my God.
Yeah, after about 2 days, there's nothing left but bones.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I wonder if that'll work on humans too.
I don't know. I mean, I would never put like a cute furry animal in Clorox, but I mean, it's a frog. I mean, come on.
That's good.
Fuck that frog.
He said, "Fuck that frog."
I mean, come on. It's a frog.
I mean, frogs are kind of sus, and they piss on you too.
Yeah. Mentos. No, I never tortured an animal with Mentos before. Mentos and Coke. Oh yeah, that doesn't hurt an animal. That's for idiots on TikTok.
Yeah. Well, we had our own version back in the day, Pete. We had Pop Rocks and Coke.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was the other thing. Give antacid like Tums or whatever to seagulls. You ever hear that one?
No, it wasn't Tums. It was Alka-Seltzer.
Alka-Seltzer. Yeah, that's right. Alka-Seltzer.
What do you do to them?
They blow up.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
they'll blow up.
they can't burp or fart, and their abdomen fills up with gas, and they just explode.
That's crazy. I think they deserve it. One time, those fuckers ate my sandwich. I still haven't got over it.
Oh yeah,
It must have been a hell of a sandwich.
you can
My entire foot long freaking sandwich.
you can always tell inland people when you go to the beach because they're the ones feeding the seagulls.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad idea.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here watching and go, hey, fucker, don't do that.
Yeah, there's shit all over you.
Yeah, and then they get shit on them and I laugh at them.
But if I had this coyote situation, I'd be full blown Bill Murray right now. I'd be out there with camouflage painted face, laying in the bushes.
I've done it. I've got a fluoroscope on my 308, and I've laid down the bed of my truck. Like when I say we have a coyote problem, like there'll be 200 of them in the field across from my house.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and I mean I'll just sit there go through a couple of boxes of hand loads and dropping them.
That's crazy.
Can you eat
That's
them?
the only thing I'll do that to, because when they get in big numbers like that, they get brave. And I mean, they've been known to come after children.
Can you eat them?
I never have. No, coyote's one of the very few things I'll just drop it and leave it. I'm not eating it.
Yeah, let the vultures take care of it.
Yeah, something's gonna eat it. So, like everything else, if I'm not gonna eat it, I'm not gonna shoot it. Coyote's one of the very few exceptions I make to that.
You sell the pelts or whatever?
Well, I don't think coyote pelts are quite going for what they were back in the day.
Yeah, I don't think you can make a coat out of that, can you?
I'm sure you could, but I don't think the demand is there anymore for coyote furs. I think people are more interested in, mink coats and chinchilla.
I'm just making fun of you, Sea Dog. If I saw a coyote on my property, I wouldn't let my cat out there either.
Yeah.
At least until I killed the coyote.
Stray cat.
He also killed. Well, yeah, but Belly's sweet. She's a sweet girl.
I mean, I'm not a cat person though, so I'm the exact wrong person to talk to about that. Like, cats are fucking sus to me.
Yeah. I know. We've been over this.
Yeah, he's not a cat guy.
My neighbor's freaking chickens all got slaughtered by him, dude. He killed like 9 of them the other week.
What, you just jump over the fence?
I don't know. I don't know what his setup is over there. I guess he's got a coop with.
It don't matter. Coyotes will find a way in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like if you have chickens, that's a constant fight you're having, is to keep animals from getting in there.
Yeah, they look at that and they see a big giant Chick-fil-A sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fox too, right?
Lunch for the next 6 weeks. Yeah, let's go.
So, yeah, my neighbor's pissed too, so he'll be happy if I take.
You should just buy one of your neighbor's chickens, chain it up outside your house, like in the back.
Got none left. They
And
kill
just
every single one of them.
Oh, well, you can find it. I'm sure there's somewhere around you can buy a chicken from somebody.
Kind of like that scene in Jurassic Park where they chained up a goat trying to bait the T-Rex.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Sea-Dog probably wouldn't want to kill a coyote either.
I would kill.
Yeah, he'll probably try and figure out a way to adopt that fucking thing too.
Fucking coyote in his house.
I would kill a coyote if it Trench's belly. She would need help from me.
Yeah, the buzzsaw could take care of a coyote in no time.
Buzzsaw? Oh,
Yeah.
I should call him out to help. I think the buzzsaw would only probably fight a coyote if they were playing Georgia Tech, though. I don't know. I don't know if he has interest in the affairs of
Well, then Buzzsaw's just not a very good friend, is he?
I mean, he's a busy man. Got to deal with, threats to the Yellow Jackets. So can't really say that I blame him.
Speaking of buzzsaw, I'm going to need you over the next 8 months or so, Sea-Dog, to like constantly bring up me coming to the Georgia Tech and Clemson game with you.
What is that?
Just recognition. My wife can hear it, and she'll get used to the idea of it.
I see.
Speak it into reality kind of thing.
Yeah. The more she hears it, the more she has to accept it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
That's funny. Yeah, I will absolutely do that.
Caden, thank you for the super chat. He says, Pete calls me retarded, but he's really stupid. I don't think I've ever called you retarded. I mean, I've thought it. I don't think I've ever said it, though. I mean...
But here's the thing.
I think a lot of people thought that. I'm just being honest with you.
Stupid, there's a cure for. Retard, there isn't.
I don't think I've called you retarded. I might have said some of the things you said were retarded. I don't think I've actually called you retarded, though. I don't think I've actually called anybody retarded before. So. But as far as me being really stupid, yeah, I already know that. So. Bad news for you is I'm really stupid and you're dumber than me. So, not a high bar to set there. Difference between me and you is I realize I'm stupid. You just don't. You think you're not. Right, guys?
Absolutely. I'm kind of fence riding with Caden, if I'm being honest. He does keep throwing compliments my way.
Yeah, he likes you for some reason.
Yeah, go figure. And it's usually the exact opposite. Because I'm way more of an asshole than you are.
That is true.
Well, thank you for noticing.
Yeah, Ramdog agrees.
Well,
107.
talk about the pot calling the kettle black.
Sleeta is smarter than Caden, and that's sad. Now, I don't know. That's close. That's all I'll say about that.
I'm not quite sure if I can definitively make the claim that anybody is dumber than Sleeta.
He sends another super chat.
Chess Hall is the dumbest person I've ever met.
Yeah, he's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, he scored a 58 on his IQ test.
Yeah, I'm like honestly blown away by some of the things he used to say.
Caden has sent another super chat. Says, "I'll make your show a nightmare for you." Well, you've made it a nightmare every time you've ever called in, so I believe you, I guess. Are you threatening me?
That sounded like a threat. I mean, Caden, I must say, not the smartest decision to make threats in front of a law enforcement officer. Just saying.
Yeah, let's see your ID.
Step out of the vehicle, Caden.
Slim needs to see your ID immediately. Oh.
I wonder if they'll give me one of those red lights I can put on top of my truck.
Oh, yeah, like an emergency light?
Yeah, man.
Okay, he's still going on and on about me. All right, guys, I guess that's going to do it tonight.
Yeah.
Unless you got something else to add.
I mean, we can sit here and make fun of Caden for hours.
Yeah. We could. That would be too easy, though.
It would be.
Oh. All right, Slim. Appreciate you coming on, buddy.
It was a pleasure as always.
Yes, sir. Hopefully I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Hopefully.
All right, man. See you then.
All right.
Slim Shady Canes, everybody. Sea-Dog, time to go put on that face paint, my friend.
Yeah.
Load up.
Yeah.
Load up the 12 gauge. You know what I need to see? Can you make a video of you messing with that coyote calling machine thing where you got?
Yeah.
Doohickey?
Yeah. I went out and I'd set it up already once before.
Oh, you already got it set up?
I didn't even get hit. Yeah. You want me to film myself catching the coyote?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or trying to.
Sure. I'll get up on my roof and everything.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, good. So we can expect that. Well, actually, next week I won't be here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll be in D.C. next week.
Okay.
But maybe the week after?
Sure.
All right.
Hopefully by then I'll have caught it.
That'll give you 2 full weeks to catch that coyote. You're like, you're the opposite of the roadrunner. The roadrunner runs from the coyote, you run towards it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right. All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. See you.
Yeah. There you have it, everybody. Some football talk, some coyote talk, and everything in between. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for the midday show on my second channel. Everybody go check that out if you're not subscribed to that. I think there is a link in the description of the video to that channel. Yeah, that's it. Have a great rest of your Tuesday night.